Today, I urge you to recognize a historical scientist that significantly contributed to our daily lives. The historical works of Sir Isaac Newton are fascinating because of his significant addition to the scientific field and the uncovering of various scientific mysteries. In addition, he was a resilient and dedicated scientist whose determination saw the breaking of barriers in areas that no other would thought could succeed. Most importantly, he made one of the most used discoveries on gravity among other things he pioneered. Some of the historical workings of Sir Isaac Newton were experiments on transmitting of light through a prism to produce the celebrated phenomenon of colors. He also analyzed and introduced machines to a new concept known as the fence concept, rational mechanics and astronomy, the hypotenuse, and showed a single force guiding the universe. Many historians believe that Newton conducted his experiments on transmitting light through a prism to produce the celebrated phenomenon of colors. Humans' earliest work to gain wide attention in London was building a reflection telescope. The discovery was a radical new design which enabled a massive increase in telescopical power while making it necessary to conduct the gigantic Ariel telescope, which dominated astronomy. He sent a version of his reflecting telescope to the Secretary of the Royal Society in London. The Royal Society in London was so ecstatic about the new machine, and it demanded further information from Isaac Newton about the works he was doing on optics. His paper was the first scientific paper. Newton finally published his experimental works in the 1600s in his famous book, The Optics. Newton constructed a model of a new science of colors, and therefore a new kind of experimental nature philosophy. His achievements in this book was twofold. First of all, he had shown how a specific kind of matter theory and a specific kind of experimental scientists could penetrate to the heart of one of the most challenging experimental science. Secondly, it's shown how sophisticated mathematical analysis could be applied to the real world of nature. The optics books was to be a model of how experimental science could be conducted. Though for his contemporaries, for whom this work on alchemy was known, Newton's most outstanding achievements was in Jupiter. His works in rational mechanics and astronomy, the hypotenuse of what Newton has achieved, what Newton had done, was shown that a single guiding force ruled the universe. However, first, that single guiding force was grabbed due to the same fundamental universal gravity. Secondly, it's shown that the force could be analyzed mathematically, an excellent example of this strategy in order to understand the Newton's achievement with its revelation of the tremendous creative and guiding hand of God. With this revelation of the supreme power of mathematical analysis, with its evidence of the first scientific paper of the rules of scientific method imposed on 3 successive generations. All of these aspects of Newton's work can only be understood as the integral part of English society. Newton was a man of his time. His interest in showing how God ruled, because most were interested in showing how society should be, an interest in navigation or astronomy, revolutionized man's technical control of nature.